Well, speaking of killing knights, what is our next movie, Chucky?
Well, I don't know the title that you called it by, because I've just written down Night Killer.
I just call it by its original IMDb title.
Or we could call it by its alternate Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 title, which is just hilariously absurd because it's got nothing to do with Texas
Well,
Chainsaw Massacre.
although
But
there's a history of that in Italian movies, so
yeah.
let's look at Zombie too.
But anyways, I mean, look, normally I describe the plot to a movie when we start talking about a movie, but for this one, to be honest, it's all over the place. I have no fucking idea what's going on. There's a guy in a mask killing people. There's this hostage situation thing going on. It's just mental.
Yeah.
I wish I'd watched the not behind the scenes. There was like an interview with the director on the Blu-ray that I've got. I wish I'd watched that again before this show because I know he said something about this movie it wasn't even meant to be a horror movie.
Yeah.
and then they later on like filmed scenes and put them in like extra gore scenes and things like that.
Yeah, from my understanding, the director being Claudio Fogasso, which isn't a name I'm particularly familiar with, to be honest. He was originally intending it to be more like a psychological crime thriller type movie. Then the people who were financing the movie weren't happy with it, so they brought in Bruno Mattei. He's a big name in Italian horror movies, so they brought him in to film some gory scenes, and then it sort of changed the whole dynamic of the movie. And from my understanding, it makes sense. Fogasso isn't very happy with the final copy.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a movie that I feel like it actually starts off pretty decent, like the first 20 minutes or so, up until you get to the hospital, I guess. There's multiple scenes with this guy in the mask going around killing and stalking, killing some people, then he's stalking this one woman, and I was pretty into it, at least from those opening scenes. But as time goes along and shit's just going all over the place, it's just a mess of a movie, really.
Yeah, once it started focusing more on just the kidnapped victim as opposed to the random killings, I sort of tuned out.
Yeah. That's not to say that the movie as a whole doesn't have its fair moments of enjoyment or entertainment, but yeah, it is tough to watch in one way. I mean, I see a lot of people reviewing this movie because it's considered, one of these movies that's just so bad it's funny. And yes, there's certain scenes in the movie that you'd laugh at just because of how absurd and stupid they are. But I don't think it's like a consistent whole way throughout, like laugh-a-thon or anything like that. Like if I compared it to another so bad it's good type movie like Samurai Cop, that's a movie where almost every scene is funny unintentionally. Whereas this one, it's got its moments, but it's not consistently enjoyable throughout for that reason.
I have to also say the ending was a bit, I mean, I guess technically they explained it, but it just felt, I don't know, a bit weak. Like some of the character interactions before that point, I don't know, it just struck me as being really out of the box, and they threw it in just to have a sort of quote-unquote twist ending thrown in. I guess I just have a hard time believing some guy who loves another person would act that way, even if it's Ando. I don't know, it just struck me as bizarre.
Yeah, it's definitely bizarre. Speaking of bizarre, I mean, that scene closer to the start where he has to take off all his clothes and flush them in the toilet, and as soon as he like leaves, the guy's like, "Hey, where's your clothes?" And he's like, "I got molested in the little boy's room." I mean, what the fuck?
That sounds like a personal problem. But speaking of which, actually related to that very thing, the way the woman was acting, and I'll be honest, when the whole scene started, him honking at the woman, I had no idea that was the same woman who had gone through the, rape and torture. I had no idea it was the same woman until the beach scene. I'm like, oh hey, is it that woman? And hey, it was. But the way she was acting, I think the movie says she was like disassociated. It was just like really out there. I mean, she pretty much allowed that guy to like treat her over here. The whole thing was just bizarre. Hey, I saved you from suicide, so now I get you tortured. Like, what the fuck's going on in Italy? Like, what's going on over there?
Yeah, I remember the director interview. He said something about like, say that scene at the beach where he's like almost drowning her to get her to drink seawater or whatever to throw up all the pills and stuff. He said some. I think he said like it was just like I don't know if you can see it in the movie, but it was like a really freezing cold morning. I think it was where they filmed that. I mean, you expect the water to be cold. I mean, it's beach, but imagine her having to film that scene like in the freezing cold, even before you get into the water. I think they said they could only do like 1 or 2 takes, and then they had to stop because get hypothermia or some shit. So
I mean, just imagine putting that much effort into filming this movie.
yeah,
I mean, it really makes you feel bad for some of the actors, actually, because they obviously have no control over how the movies are going to be distributed and how people are going to take it. So, I mean, I'm not saying any of these actors are particularly amazing, but can't say they did it try.
Yeah, she puts in a pretty good performance because I appreciate any performance where you get your tits out for an inexplicable reason. I mean,
That
why?
thing she was wearing was insanely yeah. I mean, I get that you just around the house and you can wear whatever you want, but why even bother wearing clothes if you're just going to wear something that loose?
Yeah, she's in full makeup and everything. Like, do women usually get in full makeup and then just stroll around the house?
Well, you're the married one, not me, so.
Well, maybe that's the wrong person to be asking. Maybe it's the people who aren't married who do that. I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, look, from a perspective of violence and gore, there's some decent gore in the movie. Like, a lot of it's punching holes through people, which is highly unrealistic, but, pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess my issue was it was okay the first few times, but it just got repetitive. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the only way he kills people, just punches him through the stomach. I mean, I guess, fine, you do you, but it's not much in the way of variety.
He really blew it with that one chick in the purple dress. I mean, he could have got some action there.
I sort of wonder, yeah, I'm not sure. He probably had problems.
Wow. Yeah. With people getting molested in little boys' rooms, there's a lot of people with problems. Anyways, to sum it up, this is just a mess of a movie that's got its moments of hilarity and absurdity, and yeah, it's fucked. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10 because I actually sort of enjoyed it, but it's just got so many issues and it's not consistently enjoyable throughout the entire thing. It goes up and down. So, yeah, 6 out of 10 from me. I'm sure I'll give this many spins in the future, so who knows? We'll see how I feel about it years from now.
Yeah, so if all of the movie had been like the opening sequence, which I actually thought was pretty good, sort of like a classic slasher setup, woman, gets caught by this guy and gets chased down by the killer and killed. I mean, I thought it was pretty decent. Aside from like it's a really hokey mask the guy's wearing, but hey, he can do whatever he wants. I guess aside from killing people, he probably shouldn't be doing that. If the whole movie had been like that, I probably would have been okay. But once they start focusing on Tara Bachman's character, and she's the woman who survived the attack. Once they start focusing on her abduction, I start losing some interest.
Fried chicken.
Yeah, it's some quality KFC promotion right there. Because this is definitely the movie that KFC wants people to be watching to get their chicken. If you like fried chicken, it might be a type of movie, but it's enjoyable in its own way. It's a bit, well, it's obviously a bit silly. It has some charm to it, but it's not a good movie. And even though I'm sure people could probably watch this a couple of times, have a good laugh, it's not necessarily the most entertaining you can find. So I'm going to throw this one a 6 out of 10. Though I do want to say I am happy that Italy was still trying to make movies. Um, by the time that the country's movie industry pretty much died out, so well done, Italy. But even despite that, 6 out of 10.
Yes. I can't get over that one guy. Just his voice, no matter what he tried to say, it just sounded creepy. I just want to be friends.
Yeah, I feel like saying I want to be friends and then kidnapping and attempting to, yeah, it just struck me as not the way to strike up a friendship, but maybe it's like a foreign thing.
Hmm.